Hello, powerful problem solvers. So, according to statistics, 77% of people are burned out, and 84% of millennials are burned out. Okay. And there's a lot of conversation around how leadership needs to change, how work life balance needs to change, how society needs to change, right? But there is a very crucial piece of this that I want people to understand. So we make 35,000 decisions a day, and think about how we were taught to make decisions. Listen to your parents, listen to authority, that's what we always do. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what we've always done. That's what the teacher said, right? And so that is how we were taught to make decisions. It was very convenient for society and very convenient for keeping everyone together and keeping the rules in place. Okay. There's a lot of benefit to that. In many ways, life was much simpler then. That's not the way the world is anymore. We're not farmers just because our parents were farmers. We are not cobblers because our parents were cobblers. We don't necessarily go into the family business, right? We have choices that our parents didn't have. We have, public school, private school, homeschool. We have this business choice, this business model, empathetic leadership, Simon Sinek, right? Like whatever it is, like there are just so many choices and decisions that we are facing and that our employees are facing that we didn't have. Okay, so 35,000 decisions a day. None of us were taught how to make decisions, or very few of us were taught how to make decisions. Certainly wasn't taught in school. And now we have the information age, so we have endless amounts of information that previous generations did not have. Now, to make it even more complicated, parenting has changed, right? So, used to, like, you could ride your bike somewhere, you could go be dropped off at home, you could go to the ice cream parlor by yourself. Like, parents now would literally be considered neglectful if we dropped our children off at like the public library to look at books. That is like a super bad idea at this point in time. Okay. And for very obvious reasons, right? I would personally not do that with my kids. However, also, I'll say this too, youth sports have changed. So in the past, you were out in the neighborhood playing and things were child centric. You were on the playground. It was children who were in charge of figuring it out themselves. Now the way youth sports and kids activities have changed, we put kids with other adults. We put them with a coach. We put them with these situations. Again, not good, not bad. However, kids are getting less practice in independent decision making. I know employers are starting to see it. They are starting to see, hey, when these Gen Xers were like home on by themselves and just, or the baby boomers, they were just responsible for like, just go out and come in when it's dark. They had this practice of making decisions and figuring things out for themselves that, so none of us are taught how to make a decision. The world has changed, but previous generations at least had more practice of independence. And now this generation and current generations literally can't leave their kids alone because it's dangerous and we're not supposed to do that. And we would get in major trouble. And I'm not saying we should. I'm saying, do you see how this generation and upcoming generations are having even less practice making decisions and understanding frameworks for making decisions? They're not on the, at a empty ball field just throwing things around where the kids are figuring things out. They're at ball practice where a coach is telling them what to do. Again, not good or bad, but it is changing the world. It is changing businesses. And I hear so many people frustrated that employees or younger people or older people or whatever are having these trouble making decisions. I'm like, oh, why can't they just figure that out? Why can't they figure it out themselves? Why can't they just decide? Why can't they just know what to do? I could do in 15 minutes what it takes them to do 48 hours. Here's what's going wrong. Here's why it's happening. There are 35,000 decisions a day. no framework for making a decision. Some people have figured it out and they're frustrated with the people who haven't figured it out. And some people are just like, I'm trying here. I'm trying. I'm not sure what to do. No one ever taught me. And it's easy to say, well, I think in years past, we could kind of get away with like, well, they should know how to do it. If they don't know how to do it, I'm going to hire the next person who does. But now you have, people, the great resignation, you have major issues with retention, you have people calling their workplace toxic. We are going to have a new framework and model for companies making decisions, teaching our kids how to make a decision, um, helping a friend through a decision. The old models are not working, and 77% of our world is saying that they're burned out. That's a huge generation of burned out parents raising kids, a huge generation of burned out teachers around our kids, a huge generation of burned out employees trying to meet their deadlines. It's not happy. It's not great. It's not fulfilling, and we can all feel it, right? Or feel it. I kind of said that funny, but that is what the new book is about. Problem solved, simple habits for complex decisions is teaching you that framework. Whether you want to lead yourself to better decisions, whether you want to lead others through better decisions, it's broken down into personal decisions, professional decisions, and how to model this and teach this in a way that you can either be kind to your employees or kind to yourself and get to greater outcomes. We learned at one point in the conversation about productivity that we had to work smarter, not harder, right? That's pretty common knowledge now. I'm trying to take it to the next level where we think smarter, not harder. Too many of us overthinking, analysis paralysis. We have so much information coming at us. It's not an information problem. It's a translation into what we should actually do with the information problem. Okay? But 35,000 decisions a day. No framework for making decisions. It's not your fault. You weren't taught. Right? And it's not your employee's fault. It's not your kid's fault, right? We can do better. It can be easier. And really thinking, getting out of, I just need one more piece of information and decision-making fatigue, and getting into deciding smarter, not harder. It'll transform your life. It'll transform your work culture, and it'll transform the boundaries within your own brain. So check it out. Problem Solved, Simple Habits for Complex Decisions. It's coming out September 20th.